This is the third time we do this, and it's like everything went out on a blink, but so much has happened, right? And you remain one of the few people in data who continue the podcast, so that is something to celebrate again.
Hey nerds, Monica here. Welcome to the Data Podcast for Nerds, where we get to talk to amazing professionals and ask them all about how they're using data to solve the world's problems. We're highlighting all the tips, tricks, and nerdy fun bits to make you the best data professional you can be. Today is actually a very special episode. Today, we have Ramona Truta. How are you doing, Ramona?
Hey Monica, hello nerds. So glad to be here for the third time in a row to celebrate Monica's fabulous year. And it's really, really great to be here with you and keep up with this tradition. So here we go.
I absolutely love this tradition. This is the third season of the podcast.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm just so glad that we kept up this tradition, and it's, we always
Oh
cheers.
yes. Cheers. I have an espresso and I have water. Cheers.
Very fancy. So I do appreciate you, Ramona, keeping up with the tradition. For those that might not know you, though, let's start off like we usually do with understanding people's origin stories. If you could, let everybody know a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today in your career.
I am a nerd at heart and I am a teacher at heart. So those are the fundamentals of my core and my grounding. And I've got to be a teacher throughout my life in various shapes and forms, and an engineer, even though I never considered that as, but I have been in data my entire life. And now I'm data and AI. It's a natural transition. And this year I was more focused on particulars of AI and memory and agentic memory and how we can build safer architectures. And really, throughout my career, and especially in the last years, I have been connecting dots, and I like to call myself a data detective. So, the skills that a detective needs, like going deep into the bowels of data and AI, and doing the janitorial kind of work, have allowed me to uncover secrets, and not necessarily because they were meant to be secret. It's just that if you don't look, you don't find, right? So
Exactly.
I love to take the 3,000 feet view, like high, to look from above. And I also love the detective work and cover everything in between, because I think that that's how you get to the bottom, like literally to the bottom of what's happening. So yeah, let the fun begin.
Yes, let the fun begin. I think you and I have a lot in common with our detective work because of my background in auditing. That's what
Yeah.
I do too. I just like dig into somewhere. Everyone at the company that I'm auditing, they think that things are working like they should, but I'm like, are they? And then so you kind of like dig a little bit and you
Yeah.
might find something, you might not find anything, but it's really, really interesting work to really like dig into something and see what's going on.
Absolutely. And sometimes you're digging for silver and you find gold. And sometimes you find nothing. But there are many surprises, right, that are waiting for us to uncover. And what I've dug this past year, I set up on a specific course to do specific research, and I ended up uncovering things that were several hops, from the origin point. And that is,
Oh.
yeah, because, there are always layers and layers, and yeah.
All right, let's dig in.
Let's dig in, and that's perfect segue because this year you've had not one but two new courses on LinkedIn Learning, all about
Yeah.
digging. So
Yes.
dig away and dish out.
Yeah, so I started off the year in January in Carpinteria recording a live a live course, and it was building a data driven audit. And so, just talking about the different ways that you could use data in your audits to really kind of like automate your testing and be able to really test 100% of the population, because auditors traditionally they just select a sample like 40 out of a million, right? And they'll test that sample, and then based on the results they'll extrapolate those results to the population and then figure out if things are going right or not. You can imagine a lot of things are missed, right, if you're only picking 40 things to test. So with data analytics you can take that entire data set and automate it in a way where you're building a script, right? And you're applying some kind of analytical technique to then go through the entire data set and really tell you 100% which ones are passing and which ones are failing, depending on how you build out your logic and whatnot. But just really really interesting that I found out how to do this in my career about like 3 or 5 years into my career as an auditor, and I was like, whoa, I need to lean into this and like spread the word on how to do this to others. And of course data analytics kind of evolved and AI evolved even in itself. And so I was like, well, I need to create a part two of this data driven auditing. And so I built another course called Building an AI driven audit. And so, again, very similar to the structure of the course, but just applying those AI techniques embedded into the audit procedures.
So I was really thinking about, the differences and similarities between these two courses. And if you don't mind exploring this area, what has uncovered for you? Because I'm assuming you got to learn a lot and get a lot of aha moments in that exploration, right? It's
Absolutely.
share with me and with the audience.
Yes, lots to unpack there. So, the structure of the courses, because I'm very structured and organized, I decided to put it into phases of the audit. So, there's like three main phases of an audit. You have your planning, your field work, and then your report writing, right? So you need a plan. What am I even doing? And then you get into the field work, you get your hands dirty, you're actually testing things, and then you have your report writing. And throughout that entire process, there's little things that you can use to elevate or make that audit a better quality audit. And so again, the differences between like a data driven audit and an AI driven audit are just the differences in the techniques, right?
Oh,
So, data analytics, you can do things like really basic, like financial ratios, right? Making those calculations, looking at your rates versus the rates of the industries, seeing what spikes you have throughout the company. And then within your report writing, you can do like data visualizations, right? Those are very simple data analytic techniques that you can apply there. It gets even more interesting when you talk about AI. And before I dove into it, I had to explain what AI is, because a lot of people I've noticed, that was one of my aha moments, was I want to say a majority of folks, whenever they say AI, they're actually just talking about Gen AI.
yes.
That's very, very new. However, AI, artificial intelligence, was born, I think, what was it, 1954
Yes,
by
yes,
some folks in Dartmouth College, right? So, like, it's been around for a very long time, and it has what I call layers. I built out this like big infographic. I don't know if you saw it, but I built out like this infographic that showed onions
yes.
and the layers of an onion, and talking about like the outer layer being AI, and then you go in more inwards and it's machine learning. Very simple, algorithmic, like pattern detections, classifications, clustering,
Regression.
like all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then you can get deeper. You have your neural networks.
Mm,
You get deeper into that, you have the deep neural networks. And
exactly.
then at the very core, at least the core for now, is the Gen AI.
Yes.
And I mean, there'll probably be more, going deeper and
Now,
deeper. I don't
now,
even
now
know
we're
how to
doing
comprehend.
agentic, right? So,
True. I haven't seen that in an infographic yet, but you're correct. Yes. Yeah.
Monica, I had one year long of artificial intelligence in my undergrad exactly 3 decades ago, and for several decades, AI was not a favorite, and people were laughed at for doing AI. And I know I have some really close friends from my friends from undergrad who pursued grad school and did AI, and they have lived it. And I did my
Mhm.
grad school at U of T when Jeff Hinton was there. And, so there's a lot of unspoken history, and people just assume that ChatGPT just came overnight, and oh my God, we have this miracle.
Yeah.
The history is a lot of dark, dark spots, and yeah, so it's not all rosy. And even when they started, right in the 50s, those researchers thought, oh, we're gonna fix this quickly and it's gonna be done.
Yeah.
And we are
Yeah.
far from it.
Oh, we
I,
are.
I realize I interrupted you. So this is a fascinating topic. So I'll give the floor back to you. So you had to do really an AI literacy uh, top
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, just up front, just to get everyone on the same page so that they're not confused when I start talking about things like natural language processing, or I was talking about like sentiment analysis.
Oh
You can
yes.
use all of these different techniques, which are also considered AI, to help you test things within your audits. And then you get to the report. Gen AI didn't even come into play in the course until like report writing, right? It
Mm.
helps it helps with tone, trying to get the message across. When you're writing the report, you want to make sure that the stakeholders are understanding the immediacy of fixing all of the errors that are found. I did also do like a live coding where we were trying to analyze some data. We were coming up with some audit procedures, and I was showing how when you are prompting any Gen AI tool out there, you need to really, really read the output that you're receiving, because sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like one of the examples on the audit program, I fed it like, I think it was like a 5-year history, and it was like, oh yeah, just do this with the entire document. And it forgot to mention that you needed to only look at the last year because it didn't have context. An audit is performed in a certain way, or maybe I just didn't prompt it in the correct way for it to understand that, right? So it's just a lot of really understanding like what you're asking it and what it's giving back to you for you to be able to then use that information.
Yeah, the specificity of it, right? So this word context that we keep hearing, and context is queen, and some
Yes.
people like to say king. We like to say
I
queen.
love this.
And yes, the more specific you are in what you're asking, the higher the chances of
Mhm.
your answer being close to what you want and what you expect. And uh,
Mhm.
we would think that 3 years in, having ChatGPT and everything that followed, people would know. And I think we may tend to make such assumptions because we work with these tools, and now it's part of our workflows, and it's just
Mhm.
natural. So based on our experience, we tend to assume that everybody does it, but actually the reality is different than that, and you discover that in your own research and how you approach the course. So I'm really glad I got a chance to ask you that question. What are your, I guess, what is closest to your heart, or what are the things that you are most grateful and most, are there things that you are particularly proud and happy that the world got to learn about them through you?
I would say, like, actually doing it. I mean, you know how terrifying it is to
I do.
write an article, right? You have your article all written up and you're like, oh, I need to share this with the world. And to hit the post button, right? And then just your heart, like, almost sinking. It's and you're just like, oh no, did I really just hit post? Oh no, people are gonna hate it, or maybe they'll love it, or maybe like your mind just starts racing, right? And so it's like that when you're building a course, but it's kind of a longer process because writing an article could be in an afternoon, right? Depending on how long or short the article is, right? The LinkedIn learning courses, I mean, they could be like months long, right? I get into rabbit holes where, I do my blueprint. I'm like, this is how I want it structured. This is what I want to cover. These are the topics, etc. This is what I want to say, what you want to say, but you want to do more research, right? And so while you're doing more research, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this whole thing existed. And then you're just like, should I include this as well? And I did that. I forgot which course it was, but it was just like I had a whole extra chapter, and then I kind of looked at it and I was like, this doesn't even make sense into, the course anymore. So I scrapped the chapter. I guess my takeaway with that would be start with your planning process with a blueprint and stick to the blueprint. So if you do add
Yeah.
any chapters, it probably does not need to be added.
Keep that chapter for the next course and find a way
Yes.
to to build on top of it. Or, oh yes, you were speaking to me, Monica, earlier. And you met with Thais, right? You were both recording
Yes.
when you, oh, that was so amazing. I met Thais while she was a guest on your podcast,
Hmm.
and then we met quite often on Joe Reese's Discord channel and the data therapy sessions. So I was so happy that you both got to be at the same time and meet in person, which is something rarely happens, right? And
Yes. Well, it was even more rare because it was me, Thais, and Robin Hunt. I don't
oh
know if you know
wow,
who Robin
I
Hunt is,
do,
but
I
she was
do.
also out there at the same time. And we all went out to dinner together. And it was just so amazing to have a support system of other LinkedIn Learning instructors to kind of bounce ideas off of and just to have like a really nice conversation with other data nerds in real life.
Yes, and share, right, from their unique experiences. And there's
Yes.
always something that we learn when we communicate with each other. So
Yes.
usually is that we go through the same struggles, and we may come up with various solutions to the struggles,
Mhm.
and then we think, oh, if we put all these solutions together, oh my god, that's a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Absolutely.
wow.
Absolutely.
So, what about the podcast? Um, I know you're approaching the 100th episode, which is a fantastic number.
It is a fantastic number. So this is actually episode 99.
Yay!
It's the
Oh,
next
wow!
episode.
Oh,
The
wow!
next episode is episode 100, and I have some plans.
You
I
have
have some
some
plans.
plans.
I hope
Oh,
that they'll come together, and it'll be very special. So
oh my
stay
God.
tuned, my friends.
I will bring the champagne flute.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Lots of
Oh,
those.
that is fantastic, Monica. Did you envision this for when you started?
No, not at
Do you
all.
need to pinch yourself sometimes that it's
I do. And I also need to not be so hard on myself because I realized today when I was putting together my highlight reel and I noticed that I only produced 17 podcast episodes
Mhm.
for season 3 and I was like, man, that's like really low in comparison to my, season 1, season 2. But you know what? I built 2 LinkedIn learning courses. I spoke at 12 conferences.
Oh my
I was
God.
on podcasts and shows, and so I was kind of busy. I was a little bit busy.
You got some certs this year, and one in particular. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yes. So it's a certification offered by ISACA, which is a group for IT, audit, security, governance folks like myself. I have been a member of ISACA since I was in college. And I actually just recently started volunteering on the board. So
Oh.
I am the academic relations board member, and I just started that this year as well. So that's really fun. Just spreading the word to different universities about the ISACA organization for anyone that's interested in security, auditing, data governance, etc. Um, it's a great professional organization to be a part of. They have all kinds of different certifications. I have my CISA and my CSIM through them. That is the like certified IT auditor type role because I started my career in IT auditing, so that certification made sense. So they just launched a new certification called AAIA, and that's the Advanced AI Audit certification. And I was lucky enough to actually help out with the beta program. So they gave me access to the testing materials ahead of time before they even launched the exam to the public to kind of review and give feedback on how well the materials were, how hard, how easy the test was. And they did such an amazing job at the study materials. While I was studying, I was generating all of these articles, right? I was just like, that's how I study, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm studying something, I'll write about it and then I'll share it with others, mostly on LinkedIn, of course. But I have some Medium articles just about, it's AI. So they had a whole chapter of like what is AI, right? And how to audit AI systems and et cetera, et cetera. And I just found it fascinating and just like the perfect certification for me at my stage of my career. And I was like, I have to get this certification. So I got that back in April, July timeframe. And yes, that's what that was.
Do you think that companies are actually employing AI audit? Like right now, there's so much investment in just better models and faster models and smarter models and this and that, but there are so many issues and
Yeah. So that's a really good question. I'm not sure how the market looks as far as companies requesting auditors to come in and look at their systems, right? there have always been a level of audits that need to be conducted to make sure that companies are adhering to certain policies and regulations. And some of that does include auditing some AI systems. And again, remember, AI includes things like machine learning. So, like underwriting processes, if you're at a bank, you've been using AI this entire time. How do they know if they're going to give you a credit card? They collect all this data from you, they run it through an algorithm, and you get a score. Like, yes, I'll give you a credit card. No, you can't get a credit card, right? So auditing of those types of systems have been going on for a very long time. It gets more complicated, of course, with the new Gen AI, agentic AI, and all of this, and everyone trying to implement AI in such a rapid fashion, and hopefully putting in policies in place for usage
Hopefully.
and all of that. And so that's when it gets a little bit tricky. And I have been out of, the actual audit role for a while now, so I'm not quite sure. I don't see it firsthand, but I do. They came out with a certification, and they are teaching. What are these systems? What are the different AI related threats that are happening?
I think, like any learning at scale, right? Until something crashes big time, the
Hmm.
industry seems to want to be oblivious to the possibilities. Let me put a spin to it. There is a lot of work for auditors. Yeah.
Yes, there is. And the big audit firms out there, like the KPMG, Big Four, the Protiviti, all of those audit firms, they are going out and performing those types of AI audits. I just don't know. I'm not privy to know like the details of all of
Yeah.
the work. I know I always bounce back and forth. I'm like, oh, I miss auditing so much. Oh, I want to do teaching. Da 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 da. So I go back and forth, but
Wow. What are you looking for the next year? I think you call it the year of fours or something. You in your
oh.
in your reel today.
Well, because I kept noticing just like fours
Fours.
pop up. And so the data podcast for nerds is
Yes,
on
in
season
season
4,
four.
right?
Wow.
So that's 4. If if I were to build another LinkedIn learning course, it will be my fourth LinkedIn learning course. So I was like, okay, let's put that as my goal. That'll be one of my stretch goals, I think, for next year. We'll see.
You already have a chapter, right? So you can start there.
Oh, I have several chapters. No, I have like an ongoing list of all of the rabbit holes that I went into, and I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
this topic, this topic, this topic. I just need to figure out what topic makes the most sense for where everyone is right now.
I see. I'm so curious right now to where you would go with your fourth course. Wow. What excites you? What do you want to see more of, and what do you want to see less of? Anything, the landscape is big, the range is big. What
Yeah.
excites you?
I think what excites me is I have an idea that I want to expand my data career strategy program. I just opened up a group program last year.
Hmm.
Um, and it didn't get as far as I wanted it to. So I'm hoping I'll be able to offer a free version of it and be able to help mentor and coach more data professionals that want to become data analysts in the future.
I know that you started that when you started the podcast or around the same time, right?
Yeah, so it was like iterations of it. So it started off as like one-on-one coaching calls, and then like an entire coaching program. And then I decided I wanted like a group program where you can have like accountability buddies, right? So
Oh,
there's like
yes.
we get into a group and we just talk about, what we're seeing, what's working, what's not working. There's even access to a Discord server where everyone can just like chat with each other with some like ideas and just sharing with each other because everyone's kind of on that same path. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to dedicate more time and get more people involved in that. That's what I'm excited about.
Wow. I can understand that kind of excitement, and teacher to teacher, mentor to mentor, right?
Yeah.
It's something that you see and that you feel
Mhm.
when you do that kind of work, and you see the progress of the person, and you see things that they cannot see for themselves, but then you help them see for themselves. Oh my god,
Mhm.
now I sound like I could give myself this talk. Right.
Oh, absolutely. No, some of the things that I share in my sessions, I'm like, wait, Monica, you can apply that to yourself as well.
Yeah, and so, yeah, exactly.
Yes. And just seeing everybody's like aha moments,
Yes, and
right?
the
That's the
light in
best.
their eyes, like, and that,
Yes.
wow. So I didn't get to ask you about your conferences. That is a unique experience on its own, right? And
Yes.
did you get to use the same talk, or you use different talks? And
Oh, that's a good question. So, for some reason, I feel like I need to switch
mm,
topics, not entirely, but I just feel like I can't do the same exact one over and over. And so there's slight differences. And I think this year I really worked on tailoring the topic to the specific audience that I was talking with. And I've heard this before. Christopher Chen says this all the time. He's like the presentation guru. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. And I think, by the eighth one, I was like, okay, I think I might get it now. But yeah, it's like you just tailor a little bit of your presentation to the specific audience that you're talking to. And I don't know what it is about the entire room, and the vibes just click and it feels more meaningful.
when you experience it and then you reflect on it, it makes a lot of sense. You are the bridge between the two worlds, and the balance is not easy to achieve, and you have to do it many times actually to find that rhythm. We don't always get it right, and that's okay, because we learn. If I don't know who said it, but if you always do it, get it right, and you never make mistakes, then that means you don't learn anything and you don't evolve.
I talk a lot about how like one type of learning style is to fail, like fail on purpose. So if say you're in a coding class or whatever, and then you write your line of code and it executes and then it does what you wanted it to, it's like, okay, but what did you learn about that? Take something out of it, have it fail, read the error message, and then, fix it.
Yes.
And then you learn a lot more about what it's actually doing on the back end, and you can connect more dots when you do stuff like that.
And right now, that is so easy to do with AI. If you really want to grow, you can grow so fast. For the things that I really want to speak and I really want to teach others, and share, I need to understand to the I dot, and I need to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So
I completely agree, because teacher to teacher, you don't know what other questions people are going to ask. So you kind of need to know end to end how it works to be able to answer any odd questions. And of course, you're not going to know some of the questions, and that's okay too. But it's just good to have that deep thorough knowledge about the topic that you're teaching others.
Yes, and when you do teaching for a while, you tend to get category of questions. And I remember from teaching undergrads, every once in a while I will get questions that would just stop me in my tracks. And if I wouldn't have had deep knowledge and broad knowledge in other areas, I couldn't formulate an educated guess kind of answer. What should I have asked you that I didn't, and you
Oh,
really wanted to be asked about? And
I don't know. I think we went over the whole review. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
see, the educated guess,
I know. I'm like,
the question.
I,
This is the third time we do this, and it's like everything went out on a blink, but so much has happened, right? And in in the world at large, in our personal lives and in our professional lives. And oh, I forgot to ask you. You met Joe Reese finally, yes?
I
That
did
that was a
finally.
highlight of the year.
Yes, that was another highlight of the year. It was just a random data networking event in the Phoenix area, and I met up with some folks that I already knew in the data space from Phoenix. Of course, met new amazing folks here, and then Joe came up to me and he's like, "Hey, Monica," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you knew me," but.
Yeah, the two of us met on the comment section of his podcast. I have met a
Oh,
lot of my current friends on the comment section of Joe and Matt's podcast, so I will always be grateful for that. A
that's
lot,
amazing.
yeah, so, and you remain one of the few people in data who continue the podcast. So that is something to celebrate again, and can
Yay!
wait for the 100th episode and celebrate some
Yes.
more. And that is absolutely something to celebrate. And Monica, I didn't get a chance to say today, but I will right now as we're about to sign off. I am so inspired, and I've been so inspired ever since I met you, and how you kept the momentum going with the podcast, and you just kept at it and brought more and more guests and amazing people to learn about and connect with. And it's just, I have been watching you and really being in awe, and all the conversation we had, just always a joy, and always brought so much happiness all around. And I love how the nerd nourishment is spreading that nerd nourishment. Sorry for the repetition, but I couldn't think of, I didn't prepare a speech. uh, and I really hope that the new year is bringing more nerd nourishment for you, for the community, and we get to celebrate in a year from today, in the 2026 recap, and looking forward to more amazing things. And I wish everyone watching this episode an amazing year ahead. I know it's hard for the majority of us, and I wish you all health, and stay grounded. Stay grounded in your truth, and let's meet again for the 100th episode celebration, and see where the year is taking all of us. So thank you, Monica, for the opportunity to have this conversation and ask the question, and really just spend this time with a dear friend, and reminisce about the year that is about to end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramona. I appreciate you. I love our friendship and our traditions with this. And yeah, I don't know what else to add because you gave such a beautiful speech. So I'll just wrap it up by saying, as always, folks, Happy learning! Thank you for listening to this episode of the Data Podcast for Nerds. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you want to transition your career and become a data professional, follow me on LinkedIn for even more tips, tricks, and nerdy fun bits.